Okay.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks so much. And thanks for joining us, everyone. I think this is going to be something interesting. We haven't heard from this segment before. So take it away, Rav.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for having me, Kim. Appreciate it. My name is Rav Singh. I'm based out of San Antonio, Texas. I am the product specialty division leader at KW Commercial. And for all that fancy title, it just means that basically I'm just bringing the community together in terms of, folks who like the hotel business, want to understand and learn more about the hotel business. And so we have a lot of folks who are new in the business versus a lot of folks who are already transacting at a very high level on the hospitality side of things. And so all the product division leaders or the groups were launched last year. So last year really was the first year that KW Commercial had sort of had this masterminds that they did on a monthly basis. So we started doing those masterminds on a monthly basis, where I bring in once a quarter, we'll do the market update and let people know what's happening in the hospitality market on a national basis. And then for the other monthly masterminds, we'll generally bring in a speaker who will specifically talk about the hotel industry in regards to what the debt looks like, or what the cost segregation could be, or what the insurance looks like. Sometimes we'll talk about the underwriting side of things. So it's really a good place for people who are interested in learning more about the hotel business, and then B, for people who want to meet other folks who are already in this business. So perhaps there's a referral that needs to be shared, or best practices in regards to if you had a listing, how did you end up selling a listing? Or if you had a buyer, how did you connect with the agent? And what did that conversation look like? So we're just trying a bunch of different things. So that's what happened last year. That was the first year for the masterminds. This year, it's the same thing. We're launching the masterminds again. So for the hospitality side, we have a mastermind that's coming up, I believe, on January 26th. So this Thursday, in 2 days, there's going to be a mastermind. We'll start this mastermind with just kind of giving a market update on what's happening in the market itself. And then we'll just go into groups and just best practices, talk about what 2023 is going to look like, and how we can help each other. So it's just a good place to be, to network with people and to understand regarding that specific sector itself. So if anybody is interested in learning or would like to participate, KW Commercial sent an email out, I believe, yesterday or last week, on all the training that's happening this week. And the hospitality training is there. It's 2 p.m. Central this Thursday on the 26th. And there's a link there. You have to register for it in order to get the Zoom link for Thursday. So if anybody's interested, would love to see you guys there. And also, Kim, another thing is that we are launching commercial deep dives this year. So what that basically means is more than just folks who are taking Nucleus as training that Alicia and the other agents that are heading. So that's a general overview of what commercial is all about. On the deep dives, on the product deep dives, we're basically taking 8 weeks. So it's basically going to be an 8-week course delivered once a week, where we're going to talk specifically about that product type. So for hospitality, after family reunion, after we come back from family reunion, the deep dive course is being launched on February 28th. And so that course, I think Bruce is putting information on the KW Commercial Facebook group that we have, the community group that we have there. So if you can go to that and get more information, or you can go to commercialdeepdive.com and you'll be able to just get basic information on it. This is a more higher level course that will go through. There's an outline that will tell you what each 8 weeks are going to look like. We're going to talk about, for instance, I'll give you a very high level view of, where the deep dive for hospitality is going to be. First course or first session is going to be more about just the introduction and what is hospitality and what are the differences and different types of property types within the hospitality. It seems like it's a very, very general, but some folks who are coming who are not familiar with that, we're just going to take a deeper dive and talk for 1.5 or 2 hours regarding that specific subject. And then we'll talk about session 2 is going to be really more about the chain scale. What does it mean to have a luxury property versus a mid-scale property versus an entry-level property? What are the different segments and what do they mean? So that's going to be session number 2. Session 3 is going to be more about market analysis. Like if you have a buyer who's interested in a hotel, what do you do in regards to looking at the market analysis? What are the pieces in it where you make sure that the product and the market matches your buyer? And so on and so forth. So we're really going to take a very deeper view of the hotel business and how does we as buyers and sellers interact in that, both on the listing side as well as on the buyer side. So those are the 2 main things that are going on. If you guys are going to be in Anaheim, which is just in your backyard, during family reunion, we're going to be talking about the hospitality business there also. I believe there's going to be sessions where we'll have some breakouts where we will discuss the hotel business there at family reunion. I'm also going to be leading and facilitating a panel discussion, and that panel discussion is specifically going to be about specialization. Why is there a need for specialty or specialization? Not specifically as much as on the hotel business per se, but just about specialization in general. And during a shift, why is that so important? So I think that'll be good. I'll be bringing in 3 or 4 different KW commercial agents who are going to be talking about their specialty, why they're specializing, what are the pros and cons of specialization, and what are they seeing in the market. So I think overall, the next 2-3 months are looking very heavy in regards to delivering content. So starting with January 26th, where the mastermind is going to be happening on the hotel side. And so if anybody's interested, please, I encourage you guys to go sign up for that. And by the way, on those masterminds, generally we have a question and answer block at the end where we just kind of talk about people, they have questions, what type of questions are arising, how we can help each other. And then also we will do sometimes a deal share where if you have a hotel in California and I have a buyer from Texas, and I would match that, this is a great way for us to understand what's out there. And so that's happening January 26th. And so in February, we'll have the family reunion on the 18th weekend, all in Anaheim. And then starting on 28th of February, that's where the first session for hospitality deep dive is going to start. So if anybody's interested, please reach out to me and let me know. That is a paid session that is offered at $1,000. So the $1,000 covers 8 sessions. So it's more for folks who really want to take a specialty deep dive within that particular sector, and talk about how to interact and deal with that specific asset class. So I know I've said a lot, but basically I think I'm very excited that our leadership last year took this position where they started really focusing on a lot of different product types, because a lot of us are in very big markets and we serve a lot of big markets. And I feel like if you're in a really big market, you really have to specialize in order for the business to come to you. And so having product division, masterminds gives us that tool where we can interact with people and see who's doing what in a specific market.
I think that's sounds like good news for a lot of people, Does anybody have any questions or comments about that?
I'm very excited. Actually, this is Monty. I'm based in LA here. Rav, I'm really excited about this section, and I will definitely join you in various discussions.
Okay.
In the last couple of months, I've been talking to hotel owners. I've talked about 170 hotel owners in LA area, trying to get some deals done. But so we talk about all that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Thanks for saying that, Monty. I think it's important to kind of understand the lane that you're in, because each lane is a very solid lane, like office versus retail versus whatever, right? Everybody's interested in, but every single lane has its own lingo. And to understand that lingo, to understand that language, so you can talk to the buyer and the seller, and then to underwrite that. So to understand, why do people keep on saying, show me something at a 3x versus a 4x, what does that mean? Or what's a room rent multiplier? I mean, we talk about that in underwriting all the time. It's important to understand that because our clients talk like that. So yeah, look forward to having interactions with you.
Yeah, no, the first time I did that for one of my deals, it took me a while to get all the details figured out, but then now it's better. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know, when I was talking about specialty deep dives, there's going to be, folks who talk about everything else. I mean, one of the big things is there's a lot of syndication happening in the marketplace right now, where people are taking a product and they are looking at, well, how do I bring this product to a bunch of different passive investors? So syndication is another thing that's going on. I know at KW, at the family reunion, there's going to be breakouts specifically talking about how do we leverage that, what do we do outside of just one buyer and one seller buying and selling that product? How do we bring a group together and then do that? I think that's a big thing that we do that a lot. Just in the last 3-4 years, we've done that quite a bit. So I think there's power in numbers. And so if you guys, since you guys don't have to travel as much, Anaheim's just, hopefully close to you, wherever you guys live. I think it's a great way for us to connect together first at the reunion. And then of course, if anybody's interested, they can take the deeper dive sessions also that will be offered.
It's very exciting. Thanks so much for connecting us. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Rav, that the mastermind that you were talking about in January, do agents need to already belong to KW Commercial to be able to join that and find out more?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think if you're part of the KW Commercial community, then you can basically join that. Now, it's not a hard and fast rule, because that is available, I guess, anybody who signs up for it. But with KW Commercial, if you go to the KW Commercial's calendar that we have specifically, that's where the links are available for you to sign up for it. And if anybody's not part of KW Commercial and they want to know about the value proposition, and if you want to even talk one-on-one, I mean, by all means, schedule a call with me. I don't push anything, right? It's at the end of the day, things either work for you or they don't work for you, because everybody has to look at their P&L. But I feel like with KW Commercial, there's a lot of folks who are doing commercial, but they're not in the commercial community, which might be okay with some marketplaces. It might not be okay with some marketplaces. I know in the market center that I'm in San Antonio, it's highly encouraged to be part of KW Commercial, because of the liability reasons also. We generally transact in bigger price points than for instance, like an entry-level house. So the economics are different, the liability is different. And so the broker wants to make sure that, folks really understand on the commercial side before they enter the commercial side.
Rav, did you start out in focusing on hospitality, or like, what is that transition like if you are working a different segment now?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for asking that question. I mean, I didn't know anything when I first started. I wanted to flip houses, so I took a license because I could save on 3% commission. And that's the honest truth. I mean, that's how I got into the business. I didn't do one transaction because I'm based in Texas. And I think California discovered Texas about 15, 18 years ago. So you guys were coming to Texas and paying all cash to a house, which I don't know how to underwrite, with the magic numbers that were given to me. I felt like, people were just paying too much, but what did I know? I was just entering in the business. So I wish I would have gotten a mentor earlier. I wish I would have gotten training earlier. I wish somebody would have told me just stick to one thing. It took me a long time. I mean, I've been in this business for 18 years, but I've just done a lot of trial and errors. I've been a specialist for the last maybe 8 years. So for the first 10 years, it was just, I was doing pretty much everything, whatever I could see on my plate, I was doing it. I was trying to survive in the business. But I think my 2 cents is basically specialization. If you are in a bigger MSA, if you're in a bigger market, you specialize so that business comes to you.
Great. Would it be okay if I threw your phone number in the chat so people can jot that down and if they have questions?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
You can put my contact information in the chat, and then also you can also put commercialdeepdive.com. That's the website which Bruce, if you guys all know Bruce in your area, he's the one who put that together. He's the office product division leader. And he moderates the chat on Facebook also. So I know he's posting other things, for that specific thing. But there's plenty of education available. The masterminds are great. Masterminds are just overall talking about the product itself, and we'll bring in different specialty, folks who interact in that market. And then if anybody who has further information or who has further interest, they can look into getting those sessions.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments to this or questions for Rav?
And when you said phone number, I think you also meant email, right?
Yeah, I'm putting that in there too.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, if you need me to, just let me. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. So yep, that's my cell phone that comes directly to me. You guys are more than welcome to email or text me here. And then I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Can you expand on the commercial deep dive for people who aren't familiar with that?
Sure. So it's a brand new course that's being launched on all product types, commercialdeepdive.com. So basically, commercial division leaders. So since I represent the hospitality division, I'm working on an 8-week, 8-session course specific to the hotel business. How do you transact in the hotel business? That's going to be more than, if you're taking nucleus right now with Alicia, and you guys are learning just overall about commercial business in general. This is specifically looking at 8 weeks of, what do you need to do? There's going to be some homework that I'm going to give. There's going to be some exercises that, people will have to do. The idea is that, you come out of those 8 weeks or 2 months of taking that 1-week session course each. So you feel more confident about the product type, and then you have certain lingo that you've already been now introduced to. So then you can go out there and hopefully get listings on the hotel side or look for transacting hotels on the buy side.
What are your views on how things are going for the hotel industry right now?
I believe that I'm a contrarian in the sense that, most people think that recession is coming and there's going to be problems and people are going to be losing property. I feel like it's the biggest opportunity that people have. I feel that the hospitality industry has survived the biggest issue that happened to them, which is COVID, which obviously happened to a lot of other product types also. But it's very exciting to be in this industry right now. I feel that valuations are going to be more. There's going to be people making a lot of money in this business. I see a lot of transactions still happening. Now we have to look at how do you survive on the capital market side. right? So how do you survive on the debt side because the debt is changing? So if you're able to, as a buyer, figure out how do you get in a product itself, I feel from ADR, RevPAR, occupancy side of things, this is not 2008, this is not 2010, this is not COVID environment. So I'm very bullish on the hotel business at this time.
No, that's exactly my thoughts too. If you can figure out the financing, I mean, that other things are looking up, right? I mean, the recovery has been very strong, right?
Correct.
Overall, if you see where we went to and how we recovered, it's very strong recovery. So, I mean, the opportunities are there. You just have to. I have a few buyers who are just kind of almost frozen in their track, like they want to do something and now they're like stopped and wondering what to do. And the
Yeah.
sellers are saying, if I sell it, what will I do with the money, right? So the point is, I'm not able to close the transaction unless I try to do both sides of it, right?
Right.
Because the seller has to say buy something else. So I need to set up a chain reaction. That's the
Well,
thing.
great opportunity for you, right? Because now you
Yeah.
not only sell, but you also buy for them. So
Yeah.
you can have multiple transactions. But you're absolutely right. If a seller is selling, what do they buy, right? I mean, that
Yeah.
1031 needs to happen in 45 days on the identification side. So you almost have to have a property ready. It's a real problem.
Yeah.
And so we are seeing that we're trying to transact on deals that are off market, where we're basically just going to the buyers and sellers and saying, look, what can we do? How can I, as Monty, how can I add value, right?
Mhm.
If you're looking to buy something else, let me know. If you're looking to sell something else, let me know. So it's the connections that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
As you
Mhm.
just mentioned that yourself. And so we're seeing a lot of power in that because people are wanting to do stuff, but they also then wanting to buy stuff also at the same time.
Yeah. Literally all the calls are, do you want to sell something? They say no, this or do you want to buy instead? And literally like every call is like that. And so if I can find the right people to want to buy and sell, we are in business. That's pretty much it
Correct.
right now.
I agree. I agree.
The other problem I'm getting into, I faced the last couple of months is that, one of the main seller wants to sell, but then either his wife or his son or somebody else didn't want to. And so they're kind of not able to decide as a family. And I have 3 transactions like that stuck because they won't agree within the family if they want to sell or not.
Yeah, no, that's really, really hard to do, as you just said. So you got to be talking with the decision maker at the end of the day, because otherwise transactions just going to be stuck in the middle of it. But I would just go more deeper into that and understand, why do they want to do whatever they're saying? Why don't they want to sell?
Mhm.
Or why do they want to sell, right? And then figure out a solution for that, because as you know, there's always a number in which a seller is going to sell and a buyer is going to buy, right?
Mhm.
So just understanding why they're saying what they're saying and how can you once again bring value to that. I think that's really important, because at the end of the day, they may not want to sell for multiple reasons. Either it's emotional or it's money wise or whatever, right? As you said, or it's because if they sell, what do? They don't want to pay Uncle Sam, so they need to buy another property. Maybe that's a headache for them. What do you do to bring two things together? I think anybody who can think outside that box versus saying, hey, I just want to have a listing, or I just want to go to a listing broker and see if I can transact with them. I think that's tough in today's market.
Mhm. Yeah. We'll talk offline. Thank you so much.
Sure, absolutely.
Rav, just curious, do you find that there are other agents, Keller Williams or not Keller Williams, that are focusing on this segment outside of the US as we are, when you're networking in Canada or whatnot? Are there other agents that focus just on this, or is it just more of a US thing?
No, I think it's a worldwide thing, Kim. Hospitality is a big part. It's not one of the four main, product types that we focus on in America. So you'll always see hospitality even as the fifth and the sixth class in that sense. But there's a lot of numbers. There's a lot of tracking that's going on. CoStar does a great job of providing data in that space. CoStar just recently last year bought STR. STR is a company that just provides data on the hotel site, but STR is also a worldwide company, meaning that they track other segments and other things outside of America also. So we're finding that there are folks in the in European regions. We're finding folks in the Far East, also in South America, Mexico. They're really transacting at a very high level. Now, our KW commercial agents maybe aren't as much because some of those offices are just being formed and started in the last 2, 3, 4 years. But this is a very diverse product type where, people buy and sell all the time, including if you look at on the corporate side, REITs, there's a lot of specific REITs that focus on this product type. So it's not just, folks that are just mom and pop who are buying and selling these properties. There are bigger companies and hedge funds who are purchasing portfolios all the time. And so it's important to kind of understand, what segment do I want to kind of transact in? Do I kind of belong in the mom and pop space, or do I belong in a corporate space? But there's definitely transactions that are happening outside of US also.
And even the mom and pops are trying to go up, right? I mean, they buy a smaller hotel, then they want to buy a bigger one, and that's going up too. People are trying to go up the chain.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some of these people who started 30, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, they're maybe family members or their kids have legitimized that business where now they have multiple units. They have their own in-house management companies where they manage, 5, 10 locations themselves. Sometimes they even provide third-party management to other folks who are needing management. So I think there's just a lot of that happens in the business itself. And so, of course, you guys are all in California. Now, Kim, tell me, this group that we have here, are we all commercial agents or mix of commercial and residential? Give me a little background on your group.
This group is predominantly commercial. We do invite other agents who would like to learn more about it, but in looking at the participants here, you have 99% commercial.
Okay, got it. And are most of you guys transacting in California or outside also?
Well, you guys can speak up to that, but these agents would be in the Southern California area from various Keller Williams offices, going as far north as Bakersfield and down to Long Beach.
Okay, got it. Great. I mean, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of equity in those, obviously, those markets. And it's just a matter of, how do you capture that? What segment are you in, or you are learning that you want to be in? Definitely, there's a lot of folks who are looking at leaving California into other markets. And the reason for that is because maybe they can find larger, higher yields in other markets versus in California. But cap rates are kind of starting to expand. That expansion's going to happen. It's inevitable. As the debt goes up, the cap rates have to go up, right? Because otherwise that spread becomes even bigger. And so nobody will do any business at that point. And so I think there's a great opportunity in California right now, just because the cap rates are starting to creep up right now in all product types, including on the hospitality side.
Now, some market.
Some of those do regions like, for example, California, Nevada, Arizona, that kind of belt, right? Some of us do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. No, that's great. And you're in a company where you can really transact anywhere at this point, because we have offices all over the country. And so having offices all over the country, meaning that if you're transacting in Texas, and you're basically a phone call away by saying, hey, Rav, I have this buyer who's looking, I know the buyer, here's the buy box for the buyer. And, not that I'm bragging about myself, but 2 weeks ago, we gave a referral fee of $55,000 to a residential buyer who did a 15-minute warm intro to me for a guy who was looking to purchase 1031 buyer. And we were able to identify and close within 40 days, the whole transaction for them, including on the debt side. And she didn't know anything about it, and she got a $55,000 check as a referral fee. And if you can just imagine, what she's or that agent is going through in terms of just, finding it so important that those type of transactions can happen all over the country. And so, if I'm looking for somebody in California and I don't know the submarket, or I don't know the market itself, well, the next thing I'm going to do is refer it out to somebody. And so that referral becomes very, very important in our business.
And what's the typical referral percentages that happen in hospitality in general?
I mean, it's whatever you can negotiate at the end of the day, Monty. There's no one specific thing. I mean, there's definitely guidelines that KW Commercial may provide, but at the end of the day, it's whatever relationship that you have and what they're willing to accept and you're willing to, give. That's really what the bottom line is. It's just like the commission side, it's the same thing.
Are there any standards in terms of commissions based on as the deal value goes up? Is there any, what have you seen, any trends?
No standards, I've seen where, you may be able to get a few points, and then I've seen another agent come in and get maybe, 2 times that from another buyer or another seller. So there are no standards. It's basically whatever you can, you can negotiate, and we can talk offline if you have some specific questions on that. But as a general rule, I mean, there are no standards that we can apply on it.
Okay, thanks.
Did anyone else have any questions? One thing that comes to mind is I'm sure that there are some markets that are heavily dominated by franchises. So does that require like different nuances in doing business, or do some agents specialize in mom and pops and some in the larger franchises, or
Yeah,
more?
no, great question again. I think, franchises is a different kind of ball game. There are some people who will only do unflagged hotels just because they don't have to deal with the franchise side of it. But I think as agents, I think, we don't have to go through a lot of hoops on the franchise side. It's really more the buyer and the seller, and more on the buyer side. And so, for instance, if I am listing a hotel that is a franchise, I would want to know overall for the buyer, what kind of fees do the franchise charge? What might the PIPs be, product improvement plans that they may give to the new buyer, and then also what the application fees might look like. But just the basic information, the basic questions. Beyond that, it's the buyer who needs to qualify to get the franchise, to have the liquidity there and all that. So, and in one of the sessions, we do talk about that in the deep dive, where we talk about, what are the nuances and what do we need to look for when we do interact with franchisors, in that regards. But for the most part, it's pretty easy. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, some people don't realize that the franchise, I mean, the company has to say yes. It's just like, it's not like you can just buy something and the seller can sell it. If the company says no, that doesn't want to happen, right?
Absolutely. I mean, they have to qualify. It's almost like, when you're buying a franchise, consider that you're buying a Chick-fil-A or you're buying a McDonald's or something, right? That company is such a big company, they will have some requirements for the new buyer. And one of the biggest is education in regards to making sure that there's experience behind if you're trying to buy a franchise. And if you don't have the experience, they may basically just tell you to have a third-party management company who's going to be managing that asset for you. And then your lender might say the same thing if you don't have that experience. So experience is a big part of it. But there's different ways that you can go and talk to them. But sometimes the franchise, like Marriott, if you're trying to buy a Marriott, no matter what you do, they want you to have a third-party management company. You as a buyer can't just say, hey, I'm the owner and I'm going to sit behind desk and I'm going to be selling you rooms. I mean, they need to make sure that you're trained before you do that. But if you're buying another flag, they will give you some training, but they don't care if you operate yourself or if you get a third-party management company.
That's interesting.
Chitra, you had asked me a question regarding if there's an agent that is doing some work in Phoenix market. I just sent you Andrew's contact information. You can reach out to him. He's good. He knows what he's talking about in that field.
Thank you so much. Sat Sri Akal.
Sat Sri Akal. You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Well, if there aren't any other questions, thank you so much, Rav, for taking time out to join us today. This is definitely something that we haven't really focused on before, so I appreciate you sharing with us all the information, and hopefully some people who are going to family reunion will catch up with you there. And are the breakout sessions that you'll be a part of, are those just for the commercial folks, or?
I think anybody can come in and learn about commercial there, so you don't have to be a KW Commercial member.
Okay.
KW Commercial, just like any of the segments there, they will have their own trainings and their own masterminds going on. Commercial has their own also, and so within that, if you're interested, you can come in there, you can learn more about different segments that are going on. So we'll definitely have one where in a bigger room, we'll split into 4 or 5 different sections, and the hospitality folks will just talk about almost like a mini mastermind in that regards, and then probably rotate. So you can, if you're now interested in the office segment or the multifamily segment or the industrial segment, you'll have that opportunity to go back and forth.
Sure. Well, that sounds very powerful. So, well, again, thank you so much. And for those of you that hopped on a little late, we'll send this recording out so you can see everything that we talked about today. And thank you again, Rav.
Absolutely. Thank you. Great. Nice meeting you all. And if you guys have any questions, or if you want to do a one-on-one, just talk about hotel business. I love talking about it. That's what I do. And so more than happy to, talk to you guys, just schedule a meeting with me.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Hope to see you guys in Anaheim next month.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.